makes me more of a fan is it's all properly connected, written, and scoped out by the same people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was I reading that was kind of annoying, though? Was it,
But these movies are supplying me with my comic knowledge, because I have no prior knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, that's what my problem is. Like, I enjoy the movies, but I have no investment. I'm not like, oh, it's my favorite guy. Don't die.
Oh, they're not staying true to the comic book.
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
I loved Green Lantern growing up.
I don't know anyone that liked any of that stuff growing up. Like, I remember people who read comics, but no one was like, Iron Man's my favorite. Like, those were pussy comics.
Yeah.
Like, you read Dark Horse stuff, you know what I mean? Like,
Everybody read Spawn. Everybody read The Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody read Wolverine.
Mm-hmm. Like, the darker stuff. And then, like, the Aliens comics and all that shit. Like,
Yeah.
you didn't read, like, oh, I'm reading Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But
I had a subscription to Silver Surfer for a while, and then
Gaze,
it really was.
He's right up there with Wonder Woman.
What's her name? Gadot? Gidget Gadot or something like that.
Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot.
From Fast and Furious.
Hot. She's gonna be Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I saw that,
but I heard they're really pushing it to be more of a Justice League film than a Batman versus Superman film. Because now they've got her, and they have the Flash casted now.
That's what I don't understand. I honestly don't. Like, why do you have to stuff every movie with, like, 20 people? Like, why can't you just be...
They feel the pressure. They feel the pressure of the Avengers. They feel the pressure of what's coming with the Inhumans.
But honestly, like, that makes me not care.
And
like,
Guardians.
Like, perfect example, like... But the Guardians, like... It stood out to me only because I had zero knowledge of it.
Yeah, same here.
So, like, anyone could have died and I would have known. You know, like, like I felt, you know, like when Groot dies, right? Like, when he sacrifices himself.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay. Like, I feel the emotional weight of that because I don't know anything about that character. I don't know if he's going to ever come back or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if it's Wolverine or whoever, like, they're going to die 50 times and it's never going to matter because they can't think of anything new and they're going to keep resurrecting the same people over and over and over. Oh, this is an alternate universe. This is his son. This is the future. This is an alternate time. Like, shut up.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's comics, though. I mean, they're going to have to do that.
That's what I'm saying.
Because eventually Wolverine's going to be too old to really look like his mutant healing factor finally gave up on him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, isn't that like an inherent, like kind of flag to it's aging people out of comics? Like, if you're into your third iteration or whatever iteration of Spider-Man, you're fucking old. It's time to move on, bro. Like,
although,
you know, like,
I am excited about one thing about Spider-Man. They're talking
is
about
there another Spider-Man.
They're talking about bringing Spider-Man back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, because the other ones suck. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I like the last one, but I don't.
But that's where the theory is coming from that he'll show up in Civil War. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I just don't want to see another Spider-Man origin story. I don't need to see Uncle Ben die again.
No. Did I drop my Skittles over there? You said if I drop my Skittles.
Has there ever been a movie, comic book based, where the problem from the villain is happening in more than just one major city?
What do you mean, like
everything
like
always
Spider-Man's
happens?
always New York, and
it's always New York
Avengers
or Chicago or
West
Gotham. Like,
yeah.
What a luxury it is to live in San Antonio and never have to put up with this stuff.
Well, no, the Avengers had East Coast Avengers and West Coast Avengers.
But did anything ever happen?
Yeah.
Where did West
two
Coast
different
Avengers?
Teams.
Where did that take place? It was probably one city.
California.
One city.
No, it's pretty much up and down the western.
They traveled from San Francisco.
Now, East Coast Avengers was mostly
so
New
far.
York,
Wouldn't you say
Florida.
Independence Day has been the biggest threat to the planet versus all these other movies where it's just been like one city?
Battle Los Angeles. But yes, I mean, that did it first. But.
I mean, Independence Day, they covered the most square footage and caused the most damage in one day.
That's true.
Than anybody else really has. And there's going to be more of those soon.
We'll see.
Yes, sans Dillweed.
Oh, we don't. I'm over Will Smith. He looks fat.
What's wrong with him though? He's crazy now. He like thinks he invented science.
I think
and
he's
shit.
a Scientologist, right?
But he won't admit it, which is creepy.
Jeez,
and his son's
I'm tired
crazy.
of that.
Like they're all crazy. His whole family. His daughter was in bed with like a 20-year-old.
I think those movies will be way better without him because.
You don't have to worry about his presence.
Well, and the story can take
shadow.
centerfold, not the star.
Yeah.
He was a breakout star in the first one, but
Yeah. Unnecessary now.
But the story was what mattered in that movie. He was just so much fun to watch. Now I'd be aware of him.
You're gonna bring back Randy Quaid from the dead.
Like unlike Rick, like I don't like I Am Legend because it's him. I
love it.
I can't take it. I don't like the aliens. I thought it was poorly done. Thought it had a silly beginning and a silly ending. It was like a poor man's Walking Dead.
Do either of you watch Walking Dead anymore?
Uh-huh. I'm caught up.
I'm one episode. The newest episode we haven't seen yet.
Oh, everybody dies.
Cannibals eat everybody.
Are you caught up, Rick? I know you stopped a while
I'm
back.
caught up with episode 4 of season 2.
That's right.
Someday I'll watch it.
And he says he's not. And he says he's not a hipster.
But if it makes you feel better, like I was a year and a half behind, and then when they released the new season on Netflix, I did like all of it in 1 week.
Yeah, that's what Sarah and I did, and then I started downloading I downloaded the first 2 episodes of this one. So, we'll see.
Oh, well, I'll catch up one day. There's just so many. Like I have Netflix, that's why I watch all my shit. So there's just too much stuff.
Season 2 will always leave that shitty taste in my mouth, but they've caught their stride now. They've done amazing now.
Oh,
it's legit now.
Yeah. So this is for those who are listening. This is the pre-show chow down. For your listening pleasure.
We're sponsored by Skittles, Doritos, Lay's Sour Cream and Onion, Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, and Red Bull.
And then on the drive home, McDonald's.
And McDonald's.
Hey, dude, Monopoly and McRib is back.
We always fuck up. We got to bring the McDonald's here first.
I thought about that, but I just wanted to get here.
You're terrible. You know what? As a penance for being injured on injured reserve last week, you should have brought. You should have been the guy who's like, fellas, like in the commercials.
Here's what we need to
Those
do:
people don't exist.
We need to do
Friends like that don't exist. They just show up and they're like, bros, I love you. Here's some double McDoubles.
You're right. You don't do that either.
I know.
What we need to do is put in a 5 spot in the table each, and then just roll the dice, and one of us 3 has to provide it and cover the overage of the other's orders.
There you go.
Well, how about this?
No, they got that fucking
How
thing
about
at
this?
$15. $15 gets you 4 McDoubles, 4 spicy McChicken, 4 French fries.
What do I want with
And-
spicy
and-
McChicken?
Oh, I love it. I'll take those.
Really?
You can have mine.
Yeah, I think you get nuggets too. Maybe not.
Damn.
It's a full-on fucking. The only thing it's missing is the sodas, but sodas are $1 each.
Yeah. How many Monopoly pieces come with that order?
I don't know. I only won one thing and I lost it. It was a fucking McFlurry.
I haven't won the $1 million in the Monopoly thing in like 10 years. It's such a ripoff.
But you won it 11 years ago?
Yeah. You just had to fill the board. You had to fill the board with all the pieces, and then you win. Remember that when they used to give out the board? Do they still do that?
I don't know. I don't think so.
They don't even give it out,
It's
right?
all online, probably.
So stupid.
Well, no. No, they have. You can pick it up.
There's
They
an
have
app.
it.
There's an app for that.
No, they have the
The
board.
paper board
Yeah,
where you can
I got one.
tape your shit to it.
Yeah. Except it's not the right size.
I was obsessed with that as a kid, and I fucking got overweight probably from eating all this stupid food just to fill that stupid board. It worked on me, man.
Did you ever win anything? Prizes?
Like just minuscule shit. Like
Not food, like money or prizes.
I don't think so. Honestly, I'm maybe $10 once, maybe.
They don't even do it that way anymore. It's like 5 winners will win $1,000. You know,
What?
2 winners will win this. 1 winner will win that.
Damn.
Yeah, it's limited, super limited. Although there's some other like, you win fries and drinks, and that's pretty much the food stuff. I'm sure McFlurry's in there. I haven't seen it yet, but
You know what? It wasn't even money. It was like a gift certificate. It was like $10
gift card or
of McDonald's cash.
Ooh, they're coming up with that Halloween seasons when they do the Taco Cabana when you buy that book for $5 and you get like 10 fucking B&Gs.
Love that.
And McDonald's does the same
nice.
thing with the little burgers or whatever.
really,
Yeah, it's probably this week. I haven't thought about it. I haven't been by there.
I gotta
Might
check.
find out tonight.
Yeah, same here. Wow.
Have y'all both really ever stopped and grabbed food on the way out of here?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And I have to pass my own house to get to the fucking McDonald's. I'll still do it. I don't give a fuck.
See, I pass a McDonald's on the way home. I pass 2 or 3 McDonald's on the way home.
He made 2 or 3 different stops.
Just the one stop.
I'm the first guy to admit
Unless
that
they don't have tea at the first stop.
I'm always the first guy to admit that the concept of McDonald's is disgusting, but I will openly admit that it's the most deliciously addictive.
It is.
But not even the most. It's just averagely addictive.
Yeah. Well, the fries aren't anywhere near as good as they used to
They're
be.
still good, man.
But they're still good. I mean, they're not like...
No one else has
oh, these
good
are the
fries.
best.
That's the thing. Is like
Yeah. Well,
nobody has good fries.
I don't know. I like Bill Miller's fries. The big steak fries. They're salty. But I put barbecue sauce on those. I don't put ketchup.
You know what? I actually get the chicken tenders from Bill and put the fries in the white gravy.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. But the Chester's
Yeah,
fries
the
are
fries
pretty
and
good.
the white gravy are good.
I always get chips when I go to Testers.
God, I'm hungry. Now I want East Coast wings.
Maybe in between our episodes. Let's go. Let's get it on.
You want to hear real quick? Do you want to hear a song for that movie that I did last night?
Mm-hmm.
Get a little.
It's gonna be on the show. He's recording you.
Oh, you can record it.
There you go.
Here,
Cool. Is this some juncture?
Yes, it is me.
Nice. All right.
I don't know if Score Work should just be my name or should it be the band name too. It's the same, right?
Yeah.
Might as well
Nine
just.
Inch Nails. 9 Inch Nails.
Oh man, on HBO. Although a lot of it's kind of boring. I'm not trying to be mean, but Dave Grohl started that.
Sound City thing.
Yeah, the series
Mm-hmm.
where they
There's
go
a
like city to
series?
yeah. There's a
Nice.
series now called Sonic Highways.
Huh.
Pretty badass,
Oh,
man.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
That's pretty
cool.
badass. Yeah, I know what you meant.
Yeah.
I finally saw that documentary. It was pretty good. I really enjoyed it.
Does Kurt Cobain make any interview appearances?
Nobody. He
They-
comes out and talks about how mad he is that Courtney got him. It's like, Courtney did it to me, man.
He did it. I've referenced some numerous internet articles written by Mario Zamora, MD.
MD.
He's a forensic pathologist. He assures me.
Hey, they reopened the case. Did you hear that?
We had a whole episode about this.
About them reopening it?
Yeah.
We didn't.
Yeah, we did.
No, not about them reopening it.
I guarantee you,
No, because
whatever
after our
the
episode, 2
determination
weeks-
was back then is the same as it is
2
today.
weeks after our episode, they reopened the case.
And then what happened?
I have no idea. I didn't keep up with it.
You can't bring it up and be like, oh, I didn't keep up with it. I don't know. Slender Man got him.
Very nice.
It's legit, man.
I like that.
When's that movie coming? I mean, when are they gonna?
Spring, I think they'll be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw. It's a part of a trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Really? So the other two have come out already, or
He has them online already.
so they're gonna be released at the same time?
I think so.
That's
I think so.
badass.
Dude, that's awesome, man. So where can we find that? Where will we be able to find that?
Let me see.
I got to do the social media plugs and everything.
What's the movie called? What's the director's name?
Let me bring it all up right now.
And how will we know it's you? Like you said, is it going under Juncture?
I don't
I
know
think
you
so.
wrote that.
No, I think so. Like, like if you go to the site that I had shown you guys, the juncturemusic.com,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
JunctureMusic.com.
there's a link for It's Over, Nephilim.
Mhm.
And that's directed by Mr. Caleb Strauss and Dustin Johnson. And
and some dark stuff. It's cool though.
That's
And
legit. That's awesome.
Is it about the Nephilim?
the third chapter of the If It's Over trilogy, heaven and hell must put aside their differences to confront Lilith and the gods of the core, a much greater and more ancient evil than either side could ever imagine. In order to fight, they must awaken the Nephilim, an ancient race of giants, born of humans and angels. And they have the trailer down there.
Oh, I see that. I'm going to check that out.
It's pretty awesome.
I'm on the
man.
page now.
Shit.
And I think that one of my songs is on that trailer. Let me see. Can't remember.
Were these local filmmakers?
Yeah, Austin.
Oh, cool.
They're Austin.
Austin?
Austin. It's not allowed, sir.
Deleted. Very cool.
Oh no, that's an actual song. He sent me some footage. It's got the stuff I'm writing. They're actually having me send music in where they're actually editing scenes to the music
Very cool.
that I'm writing
Very
as well. So
Very cool.
That's awesome. Man. Can't wait.
Demons and love and lust spells. I like it.
that's cool.
So talking about
Cool stuff.
Nephilim and demons and everything. This
Stinky pants.
is Stinky Pants. I don't get that reference.
Down here.
That's not appropriate, sir.
I'm going to tie that into our Halloween stuff, but go ahead.
Okay. So this is our Halloween episode. I know we've been...
Blew my load on my snacks.
So it's going to be our giant-sized Halloween episode, I think. We've got a bunch of topics that we can talk about.
Nephilim-sized.
Yes, Nephilim sized. Like some of the things that we can talk about are like our own experiences, our own ghost stories, friends' ghost stories, and like San Antonio stuff too, like La Llorona and El Camaroncito and El Chupacabra.
Stuff. Scary
So-
stuff. Scary stuff. So Halloween's in a couple of days. Friday, right?
Yeah. this
First
Friday.
off, just to get a gauge of what is that? Is it a DS, 3D, 4D, 78?
3D.
This guy's playing video games.
I know he's already checked out on
Multitasker.
us. Damn.
So, I'm interested to know because I was thinking about this today when I was thinking about what I'm going to be doing on Friday, which is probably nothing, sitting alone crying. As happily married men and fathers, what is your holiday plans, your Halloween plans for your kids' first Halloweens? Or second, in some cases.
First and second.
Right.
We're gonna take Dylan back to Morgan's Wonderland probably. We went there last year. It was pretty cool. It's nice. It's a nice place. You know, it's for those who want to donate to it. You know, that's a good idea too. It's for mostly special needs kids, and but it's open to the
donate
public.
to Morgan's Wonderland.
Yeah, why not? Or
Okay.
take your non-special needs kids to it. You know, and help further that cause. I think
So
it's
you're
a
gonna
good
dress him up?
place. Yeah.
What's going to go as? What's his
Well,
costume?
we got pictures of him dressed up as Dracula, and then like a month passed by because Sarah had it done by her boss, Angela, in
Oh
Vortex.
yeah.
And then we went out and got him a Jake and the Neverland Pirate costume, so he's Jake the Pirate.
Oh, gotcha. So that's what he's going to wear to.
If he doesn't tear it
Morgan's.
off,
Does
because
he have an eye patch?
No, Jake doesn't have an eye patch, but it's
Yet.
like that's season 7
Yeah.
when he loses an eye to Hook.
Yeah.
No, but, it's Velcro in the back. And we were eating, and we were trying to leave, and we had got him dressed up, and he just hulked out of it.
Awesome.
Just tore the top off and just let
That's
it
what it should
dangle.
be.
It's kind of funny, but yeah, we're looking forward.
So they
to
do
it.
like a trick or treat thing, like you walk around the park and you get.
Yeah, you can do all the park rides and stuff, and you know they just go up and get candy. You know, each different little stop. It's
So
kind of cool.
does he get to eat the candy now, or is he not?
We
old
let
enough
him
for
eat a
that?
little bit, but not
Who
very
eats
much.
the rest?
Right now, it's all in a bag. Like we've already done one thing. We did the OLPH haunted house event.
Okay. So do you eat the candy?
I had a couple,
Couple.
but
So it's going to
probably-
go to waste.
pretty much.
Because there's a Rick Ortiz Memorial Foundation for Halloween candy. Since I'm too old to trick or treat and I have no children to take trick or treat.
Well, we didn't X-ray it, so
If you have, no, that's fine. I don't care. Razor blades and all, I will take it. So, if your kid's had his quota of Halloween candy, you know where you can deposit.
mostly lollipops, and for about 2 minutes, and then we take it out, and then
Yeah,
he screams.
exactly. How about you, Michael?
This will be the first time in over 10, 15 years, maybe more. I don't know what the age was that I last did my own trick or treat. Of course, I've been a part of like here and there for various little cousins and stuff. But this was the first time venturing out of the house. Normally the tradition has been to provide candy, decorate the yard and stuff like that with some, if you guys kind of saw in the
That
dark.
little guy scared me, honestly.
It's scary,
I was
right?
doing stuff when I was walking up, and I was like, oh, little guy.
I know, he's kind of cool. We got this skeleton guy
like
with the
Warwick
with
Davis.
yeah, exactly, with the long hair grown out.
Vern Troyer.
He's coming out of the ground with the headstone behind him, which was a nice touch. Last year I didn't have him like that, so I like to decorate and put up the cobwebs, and we had the little fog machine and stuff like that, and play some scary music. I actually had the idea once to, I think one year I got my guitar amplifier and put it by the window, recorded a real like nasty screechy ambient loop with some effects on it and stuff like that, and it was just playing on loop the whole time while kids were coming by. But I think it was a little too loud, and people were actually like scared to come by. So last year I just used a little Halloween track, but we'll do a combination of giving out candy, and then we're actually going to take baby girl out into the neighborhood and put her in a little, probably more than likely, depending on the weather, her fairy princess costume from her birthday.
Nice.
And put her in that. But she also has some backup. She can look like a little pumpkin. She's got a pumpkin outfit, and she's got a piglet costume.
Nice.
And since she's
Like Piglet from Winnie the Pooh?
yeah,
Nice.
hand stitched by a friend.
Oh, nice.
My aunt actually invited last week invited her to come out to her place of work for a little pediatrics boo bash they were doing, and I thought it was really neat. And I'll show y'all some pictures. I wish you guys listening could see these, but I thought this was an exceptionally well done, and maybe even too well done, little haunted house. So like first some of the pictures I got were just us hanging out in the office where they have like little streamers and stuff like that. Little decorations, mummy decorations, stuff like that. And then you go to this little haunted house, and there's like legitimately disgusting.
Ebola patient. It's a real Ebola patient.
Head in a.
Oh my gosh!
Like there's little kids walking around and they're seeing this stuff, and I'm like, this is pretty intense. Look at all these chopped up body parts.
That's right out of Walking Dead.
Wow, is it a dong?
That's the guy on the gurney with his heart pulled out and all the blood everywhere. And there's like little like 7-year-old, 8-year-olds and stuff like that.
Man.
And you see that big eye back there attached with the cord?
Oh, yeah.
Optic
like,
nerve. Man.
Yeah, so that was pretty intense, but
kind of crazy.
Impressive.
had a blast. So look at that. That's like looks like half of baby. That's in the same room.
Is that a... What the hell? That is... Gotta post some of those bad boys.
That's hideous. I know. I need to Instagram that.
Yeah.
Send it. Yeah, put them on. Send them to me, and I'll throw them on
Okay,
Instagram.
we'll do because I think they're worth seeing. They're pretty.
They're pretty horrendous.
They're amazingly hideous for little kids and stuff like that. I was
Well,
like, that belongs in the adult haunted house, man.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah and I we were for a little kind of spoiler, not too much, but we were watching Walking Dead, and that first episode back into the new season, like when they started killing everybody, I'm like, Sarah and I just like looked at each other. We're like, "Holy crap!"
when they have them bent over the
Yes.
troughs, yeah, that was pretty.
Slitting throats, man. I'm like, well, that's pretty brutal stuff, man. And I mean, it's one thing to see a zombie die and have it be disgusting looking. I mean, that's supposed
That's
to.
a person, Mario. It a soul. Once upon a time.
No. But then to have like people that aren't zombies yet, be torn apart that
Just
way.
regular people.
Ugh, creepy, man. So one thing I wanted to kind of start off with, because to me this is a great way to start off the creepiness. Mike, specifically the St. Anthony's wheelchair man.
Is that what you want to?
That's what I want to open with.
All right, man.
I love that story.
I like to tell the story because it's rare that I'm put in a position where people ask me about it, and I really, there's those people that are always so excited and just totally animated to tell a haunted story, especially when it's got some realism to it, where they experience something. And I've gotten to the point now where it's been, what, Rick, 20 years, almost 20 plus years since freshman year of high school. But
old.
for us being dorm students living in, just for people that don't know, the private school that we went to, there's a bug flying on Rick.
Halloween.
It's the moth from Silence of the Lambs. It's coming in from my basement.
The Mothman.
Watch out for Precious.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, so the school, we had the ability to live on campus, and so that meant that at nighttime, our dorm wasn't like a college dorm where there's like two guys or two roommates to a room. We just had some giant military barrack style floor with 100 beds laid out, very like Full Metal Jacket style, more than a real dorm. So at night, I think lights out was exactly at 10:30, and so we had heard some stories as freshmen that there were this part in the attic that was got all this cool historic stuff and blah blah blah. But anyway, like I was saying, the thing about this story before I get into it is that there's these people, you know, that love telling their story about like the tracks or the chupacabra or whatever it is. And I've told this story only a handful of times, but as I've gotten older, I start realizing like I'm scared to tell it because I start wondering like, did I make it up? Is it even real anymore? Because when I first told it, it was so real that it really freaked me out that I almost didn't want to talk about it, because now I look back on it and the memories become so obscured. I'm like, am I making it up in my head? Like, I'm not telling it to be cool. I'm not telling the story because I think it's a cool campfire thing or exaggerated. I mean, I know what happened. I was there, but man. So anyway, we had heard this story about the wheelchair man. And if you could drive up to the St. Anthony campus today if you want, you know, during the daytime, just drive up through the driveway off McCullough, and you can see the main building where the statue of St. Anthony is out there. And if you look straight up at the main building, you can see there's 1, 2, 3 floors, and then above the third floor is just a smaller part of the structure, and you can see smaller windows. Well, they used to say that, I don't know, Rick, you might have to fill the details in, but something about a priest or something like that was in a wheelchair and died and blah, 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 or some, whatever it was. I don't remember the details anymore. It's really not important. What was important was that they said that wheelchair overlooks that top window above the third floor in the attic. Yeah. And so,
because the windows are like actually like on the floor,
right?
It's that raised up.
It's that high.
So you're in the attic basically. So the windows are on the floor and not higher up like normal.
And so I think the thing about it was that, you know, we were all kind of fascinated. We thought, oh, what a cool story. But I think part of us also were like, that's such a fun little thing. You know, we wanted to get in the attic, not for that. We wanted to get in the attic to go check out all the cool stuff in the cages. Because when you went up into the attic, it was wood floors that creak when you walk on it, which is already creepy. And then to the left and right are compartmentalized cages, like a locker room style, where each cage, some of them are bolt locked and some of them are not. Some of them are open. So when we went in, of course, lights are out. It's a small group of like, let's say 5 or 6 of us. And we go up there, and the door to the attic had a bolt, not a bolt. I mean, what am I trying to say? Like a master lock. Yeah. But it wasn't open. It was unlocked. And so we snuck in there after lights were out. And one of the cages that was open just had some amazing historical stuff, like random things you wouldn't expect to be at a school. What are those boxes called that have all the ammo in them? The ammo boxes, yeah. You'd open an ammo box and there'd be shells in it, and there were like, you know, gas cans and just crazy stuff that had no earthly business being there. And
there was like spent shells. We'd find like
spent shells. Yes, shells. There were spent shells in those boxes.
Trying to kill the demons.
So we were just blown away. You know, you're 13, 14 years old, and you're at a new school, and you're not in a common situation where you're just going to school and going home at the end of the day. You're living on campus. You're away from home. You're away from your parents. It's exhilarating. But we also knew about the wheelchair story, about this dead priest that either died in the wheelchair or died on campus, or we can't remember the real thing. Someone knows the real story. Probably JG knows, an old teacher there. But we knew that the story went that wheelchair overlooks that top center window at the very top of the campus, just overlooking everything. So that one night we go out there, and we're checking out the cages, and as we're going closer and closer, it's extremely dark. So I think we had flashlights. And we start to see it. We're like, oh, you see the wheelchair. Now, it's not like super old, creepy wheelchair that you would think from like the 20s. Yeah. I wish it had been, because those wheelchairs those creepy just standing there. Those wooden wheelchairs are scary just in still. But this was not quite a modern wheelchair, but it was still pretty
scary enough.
Yeah.
It wasn't a Stephen Hawking wheelchair.
Right. So as we get close to it, we're walking like really slowly because the wood floors are
creaking.
And we're like, oh man, of course you don't want to get caught, and you know we're already risking, you know, our whatever being out that late and all
getting
that.
Some check marks.
Exactly. So we're getting closer, and you notice it. We notice right away it's the wheelchair. The back of the chair is facing us, so the chair is actually overlooking the window. Mm-hmm. And so we're like, oh, let's go check it out. And so we're getting closer and closer, and this is the part where I will never forget for the rest of my life that this happened. If somebody's responsible for it, then kudos to you. And if nobody's responsible, then
holy crap.
Yeah. What the hell? So we're getting probably, I'd say, a good, I want to say no more than 10 feet, maybe 8, 7 feet. We're getting closer to it, and as we're creeping up on it, the damn thing rolls toward us. Like,
Oh, God.
it just backs up, but off of like one axis. Like the right
turns.
the right wheel didn't move, but the left wheel did, and it just turned. And it turned just stops in a certain spot where it's just staring at us, and all of us equally flip the F out.
Yeah.
We're like, oh shit! And we turn, and I'll never forget like that rush feeling of your stomach dropping and just turning, and we got the hell out of there. I don't know how we ran, because I would have assumed that made a lot of noise. I think we kind of like tiptoe ran, like ballerina deer style, but
Jesus.
It was terrifying. I mean, it was terrifying, and I mean, there's just no way that, in my mind at the time, I know nobody could have pulled that off, because the way we were walking in a group, there wasn't like someone hiding in some other area. We checked all the cages where some of them were locked, and the cages closer to the wheelchair, there was no way to get in there where someone could have been hiding in there. I mean, maybe, but by now, after all this time, I think somebody would have let it out. Like, oh, that was me, man. That was so cool, right? I mean, all of us that were in there for weeks and months and years, we'd all ask each other, like, how the hell did that happen? You know, and when we went back up there a couple more times, it took us.
Did?
Yeah, we went back up probably months later. I think we had the guts to go back up. The freaking thing was gone. So I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Did you ever see it, Rick?
I went up one time. I think it was during like Hell Week or something for like football. We went up there because I remember there was a small like service elevator. It was probably for like, you know, if somebody was handicapped or something. It never got used. It was tiny. It was one of those ones like the door was the elevator door. Yeah. And I remember vividly because we got stuck in the elevator. That was part of it. But I remember seeing it sitting there, but I didn't get to experience anything. I remember it was just really creepy up there, because if you would go to the far side of the attic, you could go down a hallway and you could see where the top of the elevator was, the elevator shaft, and it was just black, dark, scary. I mean, it was just like, I mean, that place is just a cool place. I mean, it was a place that even, you know, it was probably closing in on like 100 years old at that point. And so you imagine it had a lot of history. A lot of people went through there, and back then when we were there, it hadn't really gone through the big facelift that it has now. So the dorm building was a dorm building. It was like the priests lived there, the students lived there. There wasn't any classes in there. There wasn't any central air. So it was as old school as you could get.
Wow.
So
I wonder if it used to be a military installation or something.
No, it was
not
built.
at all.
It was built for that.
Built
it was a seminary. That's what it was built for.
For armored. Well,
we don't know why there was bullets. I mean, who knows? I mean, it was there. It was there from 1903 is when I think it was established. Wow. So, but it was just I mean, anytime you're somewhere where has history and it's been around longer than you. You're always going to have that feeling. And I remember hearing stories. Like I said, I didn't experience anything like that with the wheelchair thing while I was there. But you always hear stories. I remember it was always like exaggerated. Like one of the stories, someone was like, oh, like there was a priest that had a wheelchair, but he wheeled it out the window and it was impaled on the statue. Which none of this was like, it's like physically even possible to do that.
The statue's 30 yards away.
It's too far from the window, you know, that sort of thing. But I mean, as a 14-year-old kid, everyone's kind of playing into that, and saying that stuff. But it was. I mean, it was. Definitely was creepy. I mean, I'm even going like, if you go into the kitchen, and it had like the freezers and all kinds of stuff, but then there was a doorway in the kitchen that went down into a boiler room, like an actual legit basement boiler room. You know, they had these
where Freddy Krueger burns
Freddy
all the
Krueger
kids.
style, exactly, just like that. So it was an interesting place. I mean, I'm sure there was probably stories that we didn't know about, or stories that we've forgotten since about, you know, dead haunted priests and whatnot. You know, but I mean, that's what's cool about history, you know, about living somewhere. You know, nowadays, you know, you have schools like elementary schools or high schools that are brand new, that have only been around for 10 years, and it's hard probably to have that same type of experience. You know, now like you see a lot of folklore and urban legends come like through the internet. And that's how people get affected, like Slender Man that type of stuff. That stuff comes through the internet because people don't get to experience that same type of stuff anymore, because stuff isn't old anymore. You know, stuff's getting repurposed or knocked down, and renovated. You don't hear about like haunted, like, you know, outlet malls or you know, like the haunted forum. You know,
did you guys? Rick, I know you're not on Facebook at all, right?
No.
Mike, did you see
what's
that?
Facebook?
This face page. Did you see the
my Facebook?
Oh, it was something that somebody posted a while back on Facebook, but where they go into a hotel room and you see like they're using a surveillance camera on the outside, and you actually see the ghost walk out. Did you see that?
I've seen stuff like that, and not probably the specific one you're referring to like right now, but I've seen a bunch of things like that, and
I got to show you, Rick. I got to show you guys because
I don't believe it.
I
really don't believe it.
No, like it's interesting. It's at the very least it's interesting.
And I'll say the same thing that I've said like about the wheelchair man story, which is if it's legit, wow, that's terrifying. If it's not legit and someone's pulling it off, then kudos. Yeah, because like I said, that wheelchair thing, I remember watching it turn toward me, and I could feel the eyes of something there on me, like, and it didn't feel like
malicious. Or?
Yeah, it didn't feel like an evil source or anything like that. It just felt. Yeah. It felt like more than I could handle is what it felt like. It didn't feel like, oh, we're going to die, or oh, it's coming after us.
Did the ghost try to touch your genitals?
Mira, que malo.
Did it tell you and offer you Chris Madrid's?
That's someone else, buddy, getting the nighttime titty twister.
That's a different kind of horror story. I won't even talk about that now, but that's a true-to-life horror story.
Oh, man.
That Rick can share personal experience with.
But this is why, like Mario, I mean, even the psychologist in you, this is the thing, is like people sometimes create...
manifestations.
You create manifestations to mask or compartmentalize real trauma, real horror, real things that happen to people. You say, this didn't happen to me. It wasn't my uncle that came into the room. It was the devil. You know what I mean? Like, you separate yourself from an event. Yeah. And that's interesting. I mean, I'm not going to go touch it much more than that, but that's an interesting thing. I mean, in this day and age, like, you can kind of see that, you know.
Yeah. Well, and see, like, as a kid... Before my psychology classes and everything, one thing I can say... What happened?
Remo. Got nailed in fumble.
Oh, again?
Why is he in the game? Sorry.
Why are you watching
He's
it?
got a broken back.
We're doing a podcast.
Sorry.
Okay, so when I was a kid, I think maybe we had just moved into the house that my parents live in now on Ridgebrook, and where the neighborhood ended at the time that we moved in. Mm-hmm. After that, it was just farmers' fields, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know what was there before or whatever.
You tasted that? Taste
by
that.
itself?
Yeah. I mean, I mixed it a little bit. Sorry, go. Ridgebrook, Farmers Field.
Yeah. Farmers Fields. Rick and Michael are getting hammered. So when I was a kid, I had moved into this middle bedroom. Okay, so imagine a hallway. Mm-hmm. One end of it's the living room, leads out to the rest of the house. The other end of the hallway leads to an extra bedroom, and then in the middle there's another extra bedroom, and then right next to the one at the end is the bathroom. Mm-hmm. I lived in the middle one, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night, I'd have to go to the bathroom. Well, I'd get to the doorway, and I'd feel that there was something in the hallway. Didn't know what it was. Didn't feel like malicious, you know, like Michael was saying, nothing like, oh my god, I'm going to die, or anything like that. But I knew something was there in that hallway, and it freaked me the hell out. I'm talking, I was like maybe 7 or 8.
Yeah. What did you think it was? Like, looking back now. Like,
I felt like it was a small animal. And it was just lost. And it didn't want to harm me, but it was scared of me, but it wouldn't leave. Mm-hmm. And so this went on for like a year, maybe 2 years, that I would get to the hallway and I'd be like, I just have to go to the bathroom, just leave me alone. And then I'd run to the bathroom. Yeah. Fast forward 10 years. I've already moved out, whatever. And my parents and I were talking about ghosts and whatever. And I'm like, so I never told you guys this when I was living here, but I swear there was this thing in the hallway, and my mom looks at me and she's like an animal, right?
Oh,
like,
shit.
Yeah. She's like smaller than a dog. I said, yeah. She's like, I didn't want to tell you, but I felt it too. I didn't know you knew it was there. And she was like, it didn't want to hurt anybody. And I'm like, well, yeah, but holy crap, you should have told me this,
What would you have done as a kid?
I don't know.
Hey, Mario, watch out when you go piss in the middle of the night. There's a fucking ghost possum in the hallway.
Like, I mean, I guess the closest thing the closest thing I can think of comparing it to is Fizzgig from
what is that?
From the Dark Crystal. Did you ever see the Dark Crystal?
Yeah, the
birds
with the trash bags.
Yeah, and then the little Gelfling elves. They had a little dog. It was called Fizzgig.
I'll look it up.
Okay, you got it. Yeah, look
up.
50
seconds tied game. Sorry.
Oof. And
Fizzgig.
So anyway, so that's one thing at that house. The other thing at that house was in.
I just saw the picture.
You see it? It's cute, isn't it?
It's like a tribble.
Yeah, it's like a tribble with teeth.
It's like a decapitated Wookiee baby.
So that's what I imagined this little creature was, you know?
That's awesome.
That's the closest. You got to see the
Fucking
clip.
2 rows of teeth.
You got to see the clip of it
Holy shit.
getting mad.
This is Fizz Gig versus Critter.
So the other thing at this house, my parents and I were we were sitting in the living room doing something, putting together a puzzle. I don't even remember. But out of the ceiling comes a little BB pellet.
Wow.
Out of the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And where we were sitting, there was no ceiling fan. It didn't come out of anything.
Uh-huh.
Like this, just
And this is
other
when you were a
dimension.
kid, too? Or this is an adult?
This was teenage years.
Okay.
Yeah, this
so
is
it's like 1978 or so.
No, 96, 95.
Okay. So you're like...
So this
you were like
BB comes out.
20. Okay.
Okay, this BB just comes out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
This interdimensional portal that opens up in the middle of the living room.
It was like Donnie Darko.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
except it wasn't
It was going to be a plane.
Yeah.
So, fast forward maybe a year from there, there was a green, looked like Slimer goop
Oh,
dangling
ectoplasm.
from the ectoplasm dangling from the ceiling.
Gizoplasm.
It was just dangling from the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
No reason for it to be there. It was green. And
Did
it
you
was
guys
like,
collect the sample?
we took it down, and it just felt like rubber.
But did
We
you?
threw it
Like,
away.
why don't people ever test that stuff? Like,
Well,
take it to a
take it to who?
somebody. Like if
The
ectoplasm
Ghostbusters?
was coming out of my wall, I'd be like, I want to know where this came from.
We just chalked it up to, oh, well, whatever.
Whatever. Just ghost shit. Whatever.
It could be
Ghost
ghost
come.
shit. So, fast forward later, after I moved out, and my mom tells me, well, that creature in the hallway wasn't the only thing.
Oh god.
She's like, our bedroom has at least 2 or 3 dark beings.
Their bedroom.
Their bedroom.
Ew.
That they still live in, and that they still sleep
So
in.
they still see them to this day.
Yeah.
Ew.
She says they're not
Threesome.
They're not malicious.
Foursome.
They're not trying to harm
Foursome.
us.
Chinese basket.
She calls them the Watchers.
Ew.
She
They watch
wakes up
him.
and
What do
they're
they
just
watch him
there.
do?
No, they wake up and they're there.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if my dad's seen them or not, but my
So
mom,
you watch your parents when they get it on.
I don't think so. I think it's more of like just there when they're asleep.
Ew. Okay.
Creepy.
That's creepy as shit.
Creepy.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I wrote this down, and I know we kind of brought it up before, Rick, but I wasn't sure if your memory had come back.
Wait. Was that the end of your story?
Yeah, I
That's
just wanted
it.
to do a quick
That's
collection.
creepy as shit.
Yeah.
So that's it. There's fucking beings that watch them sleep, and they
Yeah.
never like.
No.
That doesn't freak them out.
No.
Doesn't worry them.
No.
Are they benevolent beings? As far as your mom knows.
As far as my mom knows, yeah.
Or does she just like to be watched?
No. No. And she's also a listener of the podcast, by the way, so she's going to
Well,
come at you
Miss
with that.
Zamaron, I'd like to know what these beasts look like.
Just
They have
shadows.
camcorders.
Just set up some GoPros in the
Yeah,
bedroom.
yeah.
Some
It's
IR.
scary.
Blah.
I mean, I have a similar thing to that. A similar. That's why I was
Similar.
asking. Honestly, that's why I was asking.
Well, before we get... Well, either we get to that first or we get to this other thing.
Get to this
I
other
wrote down
thing first.
Parkhaven.
Parkhaven. What is that?
Or Parkhaven, something we had mentioned before.
Where I used to live.
Is that haunted? Was there any...
We had a house we lived in that was very creepy. Is that it? Ledgestone.
I don't know.
Ledgestone.
Okay, I don't know. You tell me. You're the one that was like, oh, I could talk about this. I'm like, okay, cool.
I don't know. Oh, okay. So back after I around 8th grade, we moved to this house up here off of Danella Drive. Mike knows that place well.
The Flood House.
Yes, also known as the Void, right?
The Void, the Vortex.
The Vortex. There you go. The
On
Vortex.
Vanilla Drive?
Off of Danella Drive.
Oh, okay.
Kentwood
Don't
Manor.
do it.
Kentwood
Don't. I know what you're doing.
The band?
Oh my god. They were like 8 when I lived there, so.
Yeah, they picked a good name.
Anyways, what was I talking about? Anyway, so we lived at this house.
The Void.
Lived at this house.
Vortex.
And
Vortex, that's right.
it was like a weird house. I mean, the neighborhood itself is a bunch of like, kind of, it's an older neighborhood with houses that are kind of like on like probably half-acre kind of properties and stuff. There's a lot of trees. Like our house at the time, there was, a lot in between us and each house on each direction. So there was plenty. It was all trees. It was like a big old sewer, like a drainage ditch next to our house and stuff. And it was just a creepy house. It was made, I guess, like back in the 70s and it was funny because in a separate thing, I used to work at Albertsons when there was an Albertsons, and I was describing one day to this girl that I worked with where I lived, and she goes, "Oh, I know that house. My aunt used to live there." And I'm like, what? And she's like describing it to me. And I'm like, yeah, that's the house. And I think her aunt designed it and had it built or some shit. I don't know what. Something weird. And I mean, it's like I didn't know her very well. And there wasn't probably any reason for her to like invent more to the story or whatever. But she was just like, oh, yeah, it's a weird house. But it was like a house where it was just designed strangely. Like you walk in and there wasn't really a foyer. Like there was like a foyer. And it was just like 2 stairways. One went upstairs, one went downstairs. Mm-hmm. And it was like a split-level house, and it was kind of built into a hill, so when you went downstairs, it was like underground.
Oh, wow.
Basically, right, Mike? It was like kind of creepy. So you go down to this dark hallway, it's all wood paneling, and there was like 2 bedrooms and like a really huge washroom and a dining room, and then it went out to the backyard and whatever. Anyways, and, you know, at the time, my mom, my stepdad, my sister, and I lived there at different points. And it was just a cool place, but it just always had a weird vibe. Mm-hmm. And I mean, a lot of that had to do with the wood paneling, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
It was just dark. It was a dark house. But we never really, like, discussed, you know, the weirdness of it. Just kind of like we didn't. But I remember when we first kind of were moving in, it had this really big backyard. The people that lived there before us at some point actually had horses. So there was, like, you know, like a horse gate and all this stuff in the back. And there was this old, like a shack, like a tool shed or something, but it was wood, you know. And when we moved in, me and a friend of mine that lived with us for a while, we went to go check it out. And we went into this little shed. There was nothing in there except for a pile of ashes. Okay? And it was just burnt documents and burnt whatever material. And we were kind of, you know, sorting through it with a stick. And it was all of this Air Force stuff, like Air Force, like certificates and like medals and like different type of stuff that obviously belonged to somebody. Yeah. And somebody burned it.
Huh.
Okay.
That's kind of creepy.
And there was never any, like, you know, I mean, there's no internet, there's nothing at the time, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't, it was like, that's weird, right? Like, it's a bunch of, like, it's stuff that you wouldn't think of normally somebody burning because it's, you know, it's related to someone's service and their career or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so that was just one of the things. That was the day we moved in. We just kind of left it alone. And then, kind of like months go by, years go by, whatever. Actually, not that long. We didn't live there that long, so. I remember, like, for instance, we had an office upstairs. There was a little computer room. We had a Tandy. Tandy computer. And a dot matrix printer. This shows you how long ago it was. But I remember one night I was doing some homework on it. And I was home alone, and the only light on upstairs was probably the kitchen and the room I was in. Mm-hmm. So at the time, we had these, like, those plastic runners, right? Like, to, you know, keep the carpet clean.
Oh, yeah.
There's plastic runners. Like, but when you walk on them, you hear, like the plastic sound.
Yeah.
It's like when you're walking on plastic, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways, I remember one night I was home alone. My parents were out. My sister wasn't home. And I heard someone walking, like, down the hallway. And it's weird because I'm a very, like, it's easy to scare me. Yeah. Easy. But I didn't think of anything scary. I thought it was my parents that just got home. Because it was a big enough house where you wouldn't know if somebody walked in the front door.
Right.
And I just assumed it was my mom or my sister or somebody. So I turned to, like, kind of say hello. And when I turned, I remember, because I could hear the plastic. Yeah. Someone was walking down the hallway. It didn't, you know. And the house creaked. I mean, the house creaked. I mean, it's an old house. There was wood.
Hairs are standing up on
plastic.
the back of my neck.
So you could hear plastic. So I'm, like, turning to say hi to my mom, my sister, whoever's right there. And I don't see anyone. But what I see is a shadow of someone chills. Of someone standing someone standing in the hallway. And again, I swear to God, again, I didn't think it was a ghost. I thought, it's my mom standing behind the door, my sister being stupid. So I get up to go look. Oh, shit. And there's nothing there. But I saw the shadow until that moment. So I remember going, it's them walking. You know, I just you invent shit to, like, protect yourself. Like, it was just like they went to the kitchen. So I went to the kitchen, no one's there. I looked outside, no one's home. And there was just a fucking shadow. I'm like, okay, whatever. You know, I'm like, and again, I'm very easy to scare. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, but it's just for whatever reason, my mind automatically started to create a side story that wasn't there. Like, no, it was I just saw myself or I saw my own shadow, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Never mind that I heard someone walking. Jesus. And then at some point, and it's funny because I always, like, I think I've asked my sister or my mom, but, like, at some point somebody told me, and it was probably my mom, that, like, a little boy had drowned in the bathtub. Oh, man. In the upstairs bathroom. Whoever lived there before. It's like someone with, like, epilepsy or something, right? Wow. And this was after the fact. Okay, this was after the fact of the plastic. And I remember going. I remember this because I was like, "What? Why wouldn't you tell me that? I shower in there, man. Like I shower in that bathroom." And my mom's like, "Oh, I don't know. Someone just told me that." And I don't know if it was true. Could have been joking with me? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know that when I saw that shadow, I didn't know that story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You need to find out. You need to fucking
You know what I
find
mean?
out.
So like, whatever.
That's it.
So
You
that,
need to
that kind
find
of
out.
happens. And I remember one night we were leaving the house, and it's weird because this house was a split level house. So the second floor or the first floor, the underground floor windows were like 6 inches off the ground. You know, the dirt because they're buried. And all the front windows for some reason they were accessible to somebody, had iron gates on them. Even the second floor. The second floor had fucking iron fucking like gates. And they weren't just like iron fucking gates. They were deadbolt locks. So even if I was in my room upstairs and there was a fire, I couldn't get out.
Oh, shit.
Because they were fucking
Dead
deadbolted.
bolts on the
As
wrought
if
iron.
to keep something
out.
in
Or
out.
rather.
either one. You know what I mean?
To keep things where they are.
But one night we're going to the movies, and we walk outside, and it was me, my mom, my stepdad, and my sister.
Yeah.
And we're getting in the car, and just kind of like, for some reason, it was one of those things, again, like, this wasn't, my mom's a very practical person. My sister is a little more in tune with stuff like that.
Yeah.
And my stepdad was very practical. And we kind of, all at the same moment, kind of felt this vibe. I don't know. I can't explain it, but if they were all here, they would tell you that probably.
Yeah.
And we looked up at the window. Okay, and there's 2 windows on the right side of the front door. Okay, one window was an extra bedroom, and then the second window was my room on the edge, the corner of the house.
Yeah.
Well, that room in between, there was nothing in that room. Okay, at the time, it was just, I think it was just like they put like storage room or whatever. Anyways, we see this mist coming out of the window through the bars and up into the sky. Okay, out of this window of this room.
Oh, man.
And I think, I don't know, at that moment, or maybe in the car, we were all kind of like, did you see that? And we were all like, yeah, that was weird. Like, and again, like, we didn't like react as if like, oh my god, it's Amityville Horror. We were just like,
But yeah, but you
that
guys
was
also
weird.
didn't react like, oh, there's gas in our house.
Yeah, it was just this.
It's going
like,
to
it was like
explode
this,
while we're gone.
And it was like, it may have been the winter. So it's like, when you breathe in the winter, you create a
Yeah.
little clump. But it was specifically and clearly coming from
Inside
that
the window.
inside the house at that window only. And it wasn't like smoke, like a fire. It was just
mist.
like mist.
God.
And we all noticed it, and we all like kind of joked about it, like, ha ha. Well, again, time passes later on. My sister was living on the bottom floor by herself at the time. I was living on the top floor. At that point, we'd kind of swapped rooms and stuff. And at one point, so my sister had gotten, was about to get married, and she was actually carrying my nephew at the time, right? Or got married. Was carrying my nephew, whatever. Anyways, she was staying in that room, right?
In that extra room?
The extra room. It
The
had
mist
this big
room.
Old, yeah, it had this big old bed, and there wasn't much else in that room. Anyways, so my sister, again, she's someone that's kind of in tune with this stuff. And every once in a while, like, we'd be at dinner or something, and she's like, oh my god, like, guess what, blah, 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 And then after a while, she had moved out. She moved out on her own, with her husband. And one day we're talking, and she's like, "Oh my god!" I probably maybe we were talking about weird stuff or what happened about the house or whatever. And she's like, "Oh yeah, like the little boy." And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "Yeah, like when I used to stay in that extra bedroom, at night I would wake up and there was a little boy standing in the corner of the room." Again, this is before I knew about the boy in the backhoe and all that. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. I'll be honest about that. But she was like, "Yeah, there would be a little boy in there." And he would just be in there. And I'm like, oh my god. Like, again, I'm a fucking fraidy cat.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? What? And she's like, oh, but he didn't, like, he wasn't dangerous. He wasn't, like, mean. I think he was attracted to the baby. And he wanted to play. He was, like, watching over me. That's how she thought. She saw it as, like, he was interested because, like, like, little kids like babies. And that's what she thought. Like, oh, he just wanted to, like, watch over me and, like, watch, how the baby was, growing or whatever it was, but that's her vibe. Anyway, so she moves out. She goes on with her life with my brother-in-law. They're all these years later, they're happy together. My niece and nephew are grown up and big. Yeah. And so a couple months goes by, and my mom, my stepdad decided to redo that room. They're going to make it into like a exercise room. I don't know what they're going to do with it. I'm downstairs in her old room by this time. Well, anyways, there's this old wallpaper, like, old school flowery kind of sewing room type wallpaper. Yeah. So they go in there and they start taking the wallpaper off the walls. Okay, and I'm there. I'm witnessing this
my
shit.
God.
And they start pulling all the wallpaper off the walls, and there's writing on the
Oh
walls.
my God.
And there's fucking drawings. Okay, and there's a drawing, and this is before, maybe around the time, but probably before, like, Marilyn Manson got big.
Yeah.
And there was a picture of a guy on the wall that looked, that's the closest I would describe it, like Alice Cooper or Marilyn Manson. This man standing there with, like, painted makeup and long hair, like, skinny white body. And there was handwriting on the wall. You know, just different shit. And the one thing that, I mean, I couldn't tell you at this point. I wish I knew. If, you know, if it was back in the day, I would have Instagrammed all this shit.
Yeah.
But I remember very, 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 very clearly that one of the things written on the wall was Ricky, which was like my childhood name. And nobody wrote this. Nobody drew this. Like, I was there while they were pulling this shit down, and I saw it. And there's no explanation. I don't even know what the correlation is. Because I don't know if, like, the story of the little boy drowning in the bathtub is true or not. It could be completely... My mom could have said it to scare me or my sister or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would, because I was a chicken shit, you know, growing up. But if you kind of, like... If it were a movie or a story, you would tie those pieces together, and there was... You know, you would say there's a spirit of a little boy living in that house.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously he wasn't malevolent. Like, he never did anything wrong to us. He was just exploring the house or living there or checking shit out or... You know, never did anything wrong to anyone.
Yeah,
never
but
hurt
still,
anyone.
Dude, in my book, fuck that.
You know, but like
I'm
all
out.
these years later, like every once in a
getting
while,
emancipated.
we'll kind of joke about it or whatever, and we're like, oh yeah, that happened. But it's just crazy because it's weird because you see horror movies, and I watch you watch a movie like Amityville Horror, and you're like, why wouldn't you leave the first fucking night? Or The Conjuring, right? You're like, the first night I see some weird shit, I'm out. But then you think of things like that, like, you know, my parents had got a good deal on this house. And it was a
the Poltergeist,
you know,
house.
it was a big house on the corner lot. It was all alone,
buried on an Indian burial ground.
You know, it was probably like twice or maybe even 3 times the size of the regular lots in that neighborhood, and you know, it was a good deal. I don't know. I mean, like I said, nothing bad ever happened. You know, I mean, granted, there was, you know, the normal kind of unrest of having teenagers in a house, so that was that. But that's nothing to be alarmed about.
Yeah,
but you know, as of course as fate would have it, like, you know, around 98, a year after we graduated, I just happened to, my parents were out of town, and I happened to be out of town, and this really bad, it was the 98, the floods of 98 here in San Antonio, which I'm sure everybody remembers who lives here. It was you know, that whole city was flooding and shit, and our house actually flooded. The entire bottom half, which my room was and stuff, flooded, and our house, of course, ended up getting, like, mold, and there was, like, sewage in the house and all kinds of shit. So they ended up having to knock the house down, like, condemn it. It got knocked down, and until very recently, it seemed like the people who ended up buying the lot next door kind of appropriated it as their side yard. And then now, actually, recently I drove by there, and it's a giant drainage culvert or whatever. So whatever was left of it, whatever memories of it are gone. Except for... I guess the people that got to live there, but yeah, it was an interesting place, and I mean, like, we joke about that house, and you know, like Mike mentioned the Vortex. What was the Vortex, Mike?
The Vortex was Rick's freaking bedroom, where we'd have plans like, hey, everybody, let's meet at Rick's house.
I mean, we're talking like 6 people, right?
Yeah, like 5-6 of us would meet there so we could go see a movie or go eat somewhere, or go see a show or something. We even had tickets for. And we'd get there, and I usually ended up being one of the first ones to get there. I was always fairly early, and mainly because I had to come up from the south side, so I don't want to be late, so I drove myself up. And so let's say we'd be like, okay, meet up at, 7, so I'd get there like at 6:30. Well, people start getting there at 7, 7:15, 7:20.
8.
By the time everyone's assembled at 8, we're like, well, the thing we're going to go do is at 9, so we should get going. And all of a sudden, we're just there, and some conversation comes up, or someone gets distracted by Rick's karaoke stereo or his drum set or something, and before we know it, it's 11:40 and we've done nothing. We've just been there talking the whole time, just
so
conversation after conversation, just getting nothing done, going nowhere, just stuck in wherever Rick's bedroom was, wherever he lived.
It was the little boy, man. He wanted some company. He just found a way.
Wow.
And it's funny because that always happened. And it was like
that room, Michael. This is the room?
No, that room that was the downstairs. That was
okay,
the bottom
never
room.
mind.
Yeah, his room was above the little boy's room. We'll call it the little boy's room.
Jeez.
So, but maybe he got to sit in and have a
chill out with you guys.
an adolescence that he didn't get to have.
Oh.
on his own.
That's a nice thought.
So that's the way I like to think of it.
That
You know,
was-
like he got to
that's-
experience some cool stuff.
That's definitely nicer than what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, get the fuck out.
Yeah. No. Again, like whatever it was, and I do believe it was something. You know, I believe in that type of stuff. You know,
See, so okay,
it was
so
benevolent,
benevolent.
benevolent.
It's the benevolent in the room. No, so we moved into a newer apartment recently, but our previous apartment, the one
on Lookout.
on Lookout
Yeah.
Road. Did I tell you about the bathroom, the shadow?
No.
Okay,
No.
so-
that bathroom, the split bathroom was split.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was split between the kitchen entryway and then the master bedroom entryway. I should say the only bedroom entryway.
Uh-huh.
But I would be playing games late at night, playing PlayStation or something in the living room, and I'd leave the bathroom light on so that way, you know, I wouldn't trip over shit on my way to the bedroom when I finally wanted to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And maybe on 5 different occasions, I would feel like the hairs rise on the back of my neck, and I'd feel goosebumps all over my body, and I'd see a shadow in the bathroom. And I'd, you know, do the same thing you would do. I'd be like, oh, it's probably Sarah, whatever. And one time I saw the shadow, I saw the light kind of flicker as if something was moving past it, and I got up and I was like, oh, I need to tell Sarah something anyway. So I get up, and she's not in the bathroom. I'm like, I guess she's already back in bed. Open the bedroom door, she's out, man. She is out. Like, not like I was just awake, like I've been out for hours.
Yeah.
Kind of out. So fast forward maybe 6 months later, I actually see the light dim, like as if the electricity is going to go out. The light dims. I immediately pause Call of Duty, and I turn, and I see a shadow between me and the light.
Oh my god.
I'm just getting chills talking about it right now. And, like, I was like, I'm fucking going to bed. I turn off Call of Duty, I go to bed. And to be honest, like, I truly believe that I've experienced that. But at the same time, I know from being a gamer and staying up real late,
Yeah, you start
I hallucinate a little bit,
see
you know?
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting down, blood's coagulating in my brain maybe or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that freaked the shit out of me. Before video games came along, my dad lived on a house on Ceralvo. I don't know the cross streets. I'm not too familiar with that area of town. But I know he said it was a house on Ceralvo. Now, he recently told me different versions of this story that weren't the original versions that he told me.
Mm-hmm.
The original versions are scarier, so I'm just going to go with those. One, he remembers when he was a kid, and this one still stayed the same, is that he was laying in bed. It was late one night, probably like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, and this bloody hand comes out of the wall above him. As he's laying down, he sees this bloody hand come out. He just covers himself up and goes to sleep. First of all, I would not be in that house anymore after that. That would be it. I'd be done.
Yeah.
Fast forward probably a little while, and he said that he, around that same time, one late midnight or 1 a.m. or something like that, heard a wagon in front of the house. So he's like, oh, cool, I want to see what a wagon looks
What
like.
side of town is this? Like, what area?
I'm thinking west side, south
okay.
side, somewhere around there. Southwest side? I don't know. Anyway.
Ceralvo,
maybe?
That's what it is.
Ceralvo.
That's
Not
like over like
Ceralvo.
kind of west, early like west side,
Oh, okay. Well, there
like
you go.
Laredo Street, Frio, all that area.
Oh, okay.
I'm guessing.
I'm
Ceralvo.
guessing too. I think that sounds probably more accurate.
Yeah.
So he goes outside to see this wagon that's just not there. He hears it. He hears the horse. He hears the...
No shit.
And in the original story that I remember, like I said, my dad's like, no, that's not what happened. But I remember him saying that he saw like the breath of cold air coming
like
from
come
the
out of the
horses,
horse. Yeah.
where the horse would be.
Like,
Yeah. And then like,
yeah.
and the wheels of the wagon as it passes him.
No shit. But he couldn't see it. He just saw the
From
the
what
breath.
I remember, from what he said, yeah. From what I remember,
Yeah.
but like I said, he's gone back on a couple of those.
I was so wasted back then. I was so high.
No, he was like 8 years
I
old,
was in
10
the
years old or
nudes.
something. I don't know. He was pretty young.
Yeah.
Do we have permission to speak about, in my opinion, like the ultimate?
The what? I don't know what you're saying. Oh, that's creepy. I mean, that's worth telling, or we could wait till she's here to tell it at some point. That's a good story.
Well, it's Halloween though.
Yeah. Okay, so
She's not gonna be here between
yeah.
now and then.
So Carolyn unfortunately couldn't be here, so I'll tell her version's probably better than mine. But she has one of her dogs.
Well, I like your extended version though. your extended telling of
Oh,
it.
okay, that's the part where I make up
Yes,
the whole
yeah,
narrative
which
for
is
it.
still good.
Yeah, so Carolyn, I wish you were here, but I'll try to tell the best I can for you. So one of the many creepy stories she has is she's got these 2 puppies. One of the younger of which is the one that's lived with her in the past couple of years. It's a little Chihuahua guy, cute little dude. But it's funny because we always joke that like he's so like he doesn't act like a dog.
Yeah.
Like I joke, but then I kind of creep myself out that it's like I always say like, oh, he's like a person stuck in a dog's body.
Huh.
Because he acts more like a person than he does a dog. Like he doesn't do dog things, and it's just hard. It's really, unless you kind of be around him, you can't really get a vibe for it. But that's the best way to describe it. I don't know if you ever saw like the Skeleton Key. Did you ever see that?
Probably.
Okay,
It's
so like
been
Kate
ages.
Hudson's looking after this
Yeah.
older man. He supposedly he had a stroke or something happened to him, and it turns out like somebody swapped places with his body, and like it's another younger man trapped in this old man's body.
Yeah.
And he's always trying to communicate that, but he can't because the body he's in is dying. And it's invalid. It's got all these problems and stuff. Anyways, that's kind of what I think of. It's like this little person's soul trapped in this little puppy's body. And he's an awesome dog. Don't get me wrong. Well, anyway, so one day, she's taking pictures of him like we do in these days. She's taking pictures of him like, Instagramming, like we always do nowadays, right? We document our lives. And anyway, so she takes a picture really close of his face. And she takes a picture so close to his face that you can see the reflection. Sometimes you see this in pictures. You can see the reflection in his eye. Well, anyway, so I'm not there when this happens. She texts me and she goes, I'm going to text you something, and I just want you to tell me what you think. Mm-hmm. Okay, so she texts me a picture, and it's of his face. Cute little face, little mustache, little beard, his eyes. And she's like, what do you see? And I'm like, I see his face, a little cute little guy. And she's like, okay, well, look closer. Just look closer. And she's not telling me what to look for.
Yeah.
She's just saying, look closer. So, okay. So I, pinch my little iPhone, and I zoom in, and I'm looking around the picture. And I get to his eye, where the reflection is. And normally you think, you see yourself in the reflection. Sometimes it's upside down, right?
Yeah.
Like, depending on, the curve of the eye or whatever. Well, anyways, you can clearly see in the reflection of his eye a little kid.
Yeah.
It's not her. And there's no phone. You just see a little kid with bangs and a little kid face. Like
a red shirt.
Yeah, it's unmistakable. Like, it's not her. And you could say, like, okay, well, it's distorted and the eye curves and this and that. I'm sure there's some, person out there that can try to debunk this. But at the end of the day, you don't see a phone.
Yeah.
You don't see a long-haired female.
Older,
adult female.
Yeah.
It's clearly
30s.
a kid with short hair with bangs. Anyways, so she sends it to me. I'm like, what the fuck? And I freak out.
Yeah.
Dude. And I'm like, she's like, oh my god.
Have you seen this picture?
I have not.
I've seen it.
I got
I've
it
seen
somewhere.
it, and
And
it's
like, if I get a chance, I'll show it to you
freaky.
later. And it's like, and we're just like, oh my god. And we're like freaked out, but we're like joking about it. Like, what does it mean? And she's like, it's a little kid. Like, it's a little kid. What does that mean?
Yeah.
And she's like, and she's all freaked out because there's just no rational explanation. Again, like, if it's a reflection of you and you're taking a selfie, or you're the reflection of the phone's in the picture, you would see it, but it might be distorted. It might not look like you. It might look weird.
No, but this is
But
straight
this is
up
like very
not
and you've seen
Carolyn.
it.
I've seen the
it.
picture. Yeah.
It's clearly a child.
Yes.
With little kid
yeah,
bangs
like
and a
almost
little
like
bob haircut
almost like
or whatever.
like a chili bowl in the front.
And so we're just like, weird. That's so freaking weird. And we're talking about it. We're trying to figure it out. And what's weirder is like I've seen pictures of her as a kid.
Yeah.
And this reflection looks like her in the pictures I've seen of her as a kid.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of like, and we're like joking and trying to like kind of play down the weirdness of this, and we were like inventing our own narrative for it. And we were like, well, like maybe that's how innocent and pure that animals are. Mm-hmm. Is that he's seen you at your purest when you were a child, before you were an adult, and before you had pain, and before you had been through things, and blah, blah, blah. He's seen you as, God sees us, as kids, pure, whatever, innocent. Mm-hmm. And they're just creepy in itself.
Yeah.
Nice, pleasant, but creepy.
Yeah.
But what makes this story a little creepier is that, like, there's a point, like, in time, and I wish she was here. I'm not doing this justice because she's not here. I wish she was here to tell the story. Maybe one of these days she'll come on and tell it. Is that there's a period, and she's the one that brought this to my attention. She's like, if you look at pictures of me from a certain point in my life as a child, And then one day the pictures just change, and she looks different. And we all grow. You know, your heads get bigger, your body changes, whatever.
Yeah.
But she's like, I don't look like the same person when I was like 14 as when I was 10 or 8 or whatever. You know, whatever the age. And and you see the pictures, and she looked like. Pictures of her as a kid look like she's related to her family. It's not like just, you know, a black kid or a Chinese kid or something. But you can see the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, and I only really thought about this because she really, like, shows it to me. She's like, isn't this weird?
Yeah.
And then, of course, on top of that, and like a lot of people, she's like, it's funny that like, I have these blank spots in my youth where I can't remember, you know, being 8 years old or being 7 years old, or, you know, and usually, like, I think I'm assuming for most people, your memory kind of goes back to you're like 5, maybe 4, you know, depending on events that happened to you. And she's like, I just have very, very little memory of these moments. And so we kind of joke, like, sometimes, and I'll joke with her, like, mess with her, and I'll be like, maybe, like, the real you got kidnapped, and, like, your family replaced you with you. You know, they adopted some other girl and just carried on with their lives, you know, or whatever. And so as a joke, talking about this eye thing, I was like, maybe that reflection is you looking into another reality. And that's the real you that disappeared as a kid. And she's trapped in some other world.
That's horrible.
And maybe it's a pleasant place. Maybe it's pleasant, or maybe it's not. And you guys, like, swapped realities. Like, this version of you swapped with that version of you.
Yeah.
And she's trapped, and the dog is the bridge showing you that world. So when you're looking at him, you're looking, you know, like they say that about mirrors, you know, like you kind of seen into the other world, your other life, your doppelganger. And of course, whenever we talk about it, she's like, shut up, you know, we're like, it's scary, you know, like, because you want it to be a positive, you know, good thing. You know, of course, you know, even if it was something supernatural, you're like, I want it to be positive. And like I said, that's why I was like, no. It's like, it's seen the best of you. The dog, little guy, has seen the best of you. Yeah. And that's...
Well, no matter how positive that is, Rick, from firsthand experience of actually seeing that picture... Yeah. Holy shit, man.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not like...
Like, no, you know, there's no phone, there's no Carolyn, it's just this kid in a red top... Yeah, with a chili bowl in the front, long hair on the sides and back. Yeah, kid that looks like they're reaching out to the dog. Yeah, like looking at the dog, like straight into her own reflection.
Yeah, or it could just be a different kid, and maybe dogs are different than people, and they can operate on different planes, on different realities.
Well, shoot,
and that's why dogs see things that aren't there. Things that we don't see
at that old apartment with the shadow. Yeah, Callie would bark at the wall.
Yeah, they see different things. Yeah. You know,
crazy shit. Man.
So it's a weird world.
Michael, do you have any other personal ghost stories or spooky shit?
The wheelchair man is pretty much all I got. I think
that's ultimate.
I mean, that's I remember when I was in grade school, like probably 6th, 7th grade. The guys told the story of the Salami Man, and we had to go walk this like wooded area to get to a convenience store that we were going to get to. But before we had to treacherously get through this. Little paved, like wooded spot from the guy's house we were hanging out at to the convenience store we had to get. It must have been like 11 or 12, and somebody was obviously in charge of the joke because they freaked me out with it. And they're like, you know, apparently it's this bum or whatever that was there, and he had this like giant salami that had like gotten super like petrified, and he kills people with it that walk through his area.
That's funny, but I could see as a kid that was
that was freaky either way.
So I was like, we're walking, and you know, it's that like gravel, like and like somebody like from behind like scurries their feet, like, it's a Salami Man, he's coming, and I'm like just sprinting for my life, and I don't see anybody behind me, and of course it's a big joke. So that was at the time it was terrifying, but I was like, I fell for it. I knew I fell for it when that happened, but now I haven't really had anything else. I've gone along with Rick in the car for the tracks thing, and that's never really been too exciting. We went on the haunted tour. Remember that with the orbs and all that? Yeah, downtown.
Were you with us tonight? I think that was the same night when we went on the tracks. Is that the same night when we were with Jack and Moses?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if you remember this because we left. Again, this is one of the times we were at the Vortex, and we finally got out. I think it was probably around Halloween time.
And you went to the tracks.
So we decided, we had never gone. I think that was probably the first time I'd ever gone. And we were in the van No, we were my car. We were in my Oldsmobile, right? This car that barely ran. So like we were in the car, and it was me, Mike, Jack, Moses. I think somebody else was with us, maybe Jeff or somebody. I forgot who. And we went down to the tracks, Halloween, which is funny because no, maybe it wasn't Halloween. I'm trying to remember. I've been there more than once. I know one of the times we went, it was ridiculous. There was like 50 cars there, and everyone's doing it at the same time, and it's not very scary at all, and blah blah blah.
It's more like waiting for
a
ride.
So this might have been one of those times where we went, and it was just ridiculous. It was just like, it works, but as they've proven it's an optical illusion and blah blah blah, whatever. Anyway, so we kept driving, and at the time, like, I know Mike and Moses were from that kind of same area, so they knew the area, and like, Moses was like, "Go drive over here," and I have no idea where I'm at. I'm just fucking driving. We're driving down, South Presa and all this shit, down by Mission San Juan, I think, and Fortan, Espada, out that way, and we're driving down this road, and I'm thinking back, it's I'm trying to remember what road it is. Fuck, I don't even know now. Anyway, so it's in that area, though. So for anyone out there that knows the area I'm talking about, that's where it's at. And we're driving, and at one point, there's a car behind us. And we see this car, and, you always get annoyed when you're driving slow, and you're kind of sightseeing, you're kind of, like, taking shit in, and, like, scaring each other, and there's a car right behind you.
Yeah.
And you're not immediately thinking of scary stuff. You're just thinking, like, shit, now you can't slow down. Now you can't pull off the side of the road. What if it's a gang member who's going to shoot us, blah, 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 whatever. Well, anyways, we're driving. And this car just kind of, as far as we know, comes out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Like, it just appears behind us. We're like, oh, it's a car. And granted, there isn't a lot of side roads in this area, down South Presa by the tracks and all down there. There's a little old neighborhoods and stuff, but it's not like, it's not heavy traffic area. Really, it's for only people that are kind of living there. And we're driving. We see this car. And we're talking, and we're noticing the car, all of us. And then one minute we look up, and I think Moses is like, car disappeared. We're like, what? He's like, that car just disappeared. And we're like, no, whoever's in the back, we're like, oh, they're joking. It must have just turned. And like, no, it didn't turn. So we fucking bust a U-turn. And we drive back as fast as we can to try to see where the car turned. Mm-hmm. No trace of it. No trace of it. No turns. Wherever, even if it had turned into a driveway, you would have seen it.
Right.
Like, it was that short a time. It was maybe 5-10 seconds for us to get to where we would have been able to see it. So anyway, we're driving. So we drive around a little longer, whatever. We get back on the highway. We're driving back to my house. And the whole time we're like, isn't that weird? That was so weird that that happened, blah, blah, blah. We start inventing shit. And it's Moses, of all people, he's like, you know what? Like, what if it wasn't really real? What if it was like a ghost car? And we're like, oh, no. We're like fucking with each other and stuff. And he's like, and all of us, like, kind of like we're collectively inventing a story to like why this car disappeared. And we were like, we pull up to my house and we're all weirded out. And I remember this feeling where we're all kind of just weirded out, like where you're, like when you're telling a ghost story where your skin feels kind of like pins and needles or ants or whatever, like it's asleep. And we're all just kind of like have this weird buzz. And we're like, jokingly as a group, we're kind of like, what if that was us? Like, what if we saw ourselves driving and we died?
Oh,
and
man.
This right now is the afterlife.
Yeah.
These are our ghosts driving home, pretending that our life is carrying on when we're really back on that road somewhere. Like, and we're like, fucking scaring the shit out of each other.
Do you get that feeling, Michael? Like, I'm driving on the highway. Easily. Yeah, like I'm driving on the highway, like leaving the podcast, and I'm going home, and I'm like, I could easily just drive off and die, and then I'm like, well, wait a second, how do I know that I'm not already dead?
And it was funny,
and this is fucking Beetlejuice, so I'm just gonna go home. And there's gonna be fucking sand monsters at the apartment. Sandworms,
Yeah. No, exactly. But that's the thing is like, and then there's people like us. Like usually, like I'm terrible at like, telling something like that or making something like. I'll laugh or I'll like kind of crack, and Mike's good at that too. He'll start doing it, and then we'll just kind of start laughing or whatever. But I remember like specifically like Moses, like saying that, and he was fucking awesome at like deadpanning shit. Like he wouldn't laugh about stuff like that. He would just tell you something, and you'd be like, that sounds real. It sounds absolutely real. Like whatever you're saying, because he was just badass about not cracking, not laughing or whatever,
Man.
But that's one of the times I think we went down to the ghost tracks, and of course the ghost tracks are.
Well, so for those that don't know about the ghost tracks, because we do have listeners that I don't know if Cutter is going to be tuning in anytime soon again since episode 6, I think.
Deep cover.
But for those that aren't familiar with ghost tracks, then you'll just have to listen to tomorrow night's episode. Thanks for listening to our first part of a 3-part Halloween special. We got an episode tonight, of course, the one you just heard, one tomorrow, and then one on Friday. Thanks for listening, y'all, and tune in next time. Good night. You can visit us on our home on the web at www.itsaguythingpodcast.com, on Instagram and Facebook at It's a Guy Thing Podcast, and Twitter, It's a Guy Thing Pod. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher Radio, and we'll be coming soon to many other podcatchers. Thanks for listening.